The Raising of Jairus' Daughter. Sermon number 49, for Sunday next before Advent, received April 30th, 1872. This chapter again turns our attention to healing, sometimes through the laying on of my hands, sometimes through the unwavering faith of the one seeking help. Here we deal with the raising of the ruler's young daughter, whose father came to me with such deep trust that he begged me to come to his house, convinced that my touch could bring her back to life. Where such trust exists, my response cannot be withheld. A child who pleads earnestly with his father is heard, and so I granted his request to show all people what can be gained when trust in me is absolute. What I have said many times about true faith applies here as well. Repeating it would only be needless. These events stand as enduring examples of the path by which a person may approach the fulfillment of their longing, especially when that longing is just. Although in those days I worked in visible form, know this: my body was not the source, my spirit was. And that same spirit is with you now, no less real than it was with my disciples then. You do not see me as a man now, and that is better for you, for the sight of me as I truly am would overwhelm you. Those who walked beside me saw a prophet, a teacher, perhaps even the long-awaited Messiah, but not the Lord of creation himself. The raising of the ruler's daughter was granted because of her father's unshaken faith, and at the same time it served as a signpost to her soul. That physical awakening, then, mirrors the spiritual awakening I now bring to the world. As I once moved from town to town teaching healing and stirring the hearts of the drowsy, I now awaken souls through quiet impulses, through chained events, through hardship and loss, so that no one fully forgets that they are more than flesh and that the spirit within them must not be denied. Just as I drove out the minstrels and hired mourners from the house of death, those who tried to hide truth beneath performance, so I still drive out the noisy distractions that try to disguise the seriousness of life. Only when the inner house is cleared can the soul recognize the emptiness of worldly illusions and turn toward what endures eternally. In this way, I awaken many from their spiritual sleep. I lay my hand upon some, and to others I give only the lightest touch, so they will not perish in materialism. Awakening is slow. As I once said, the maid is not dead, but sleeps. So I still say, many who appear lost are not dead, only deeply asleep. A true call can rouse them into life and labor in my vineyard. Many have I awakened, who now thank me, though the path they were forced to walk was not pleasant to them at the time. But every soul requires a different remedy. Each must be guided in the way that will lead them to their purpose. You too were lulled into a convenient spiritual slumber, shaping your faith into something comfortable and easy. I awakened you by many means, some gentle, some not, to stir your soul again. I needed to sweep away old habits and false ideas, just as I once swept away the minstrels, before deeper truths could enter. What I have done with individuals, I now do with nations. I sober them with hardship. I pull away the veil of pleasure-seeking and reveal the instability of worldly greatness. Through events that are hard to endure, I show them what is lasting and real. Thus it is with individuals, nations, rulers, and priests. I show them that above all their power stands another one who directs all circumstances, who uses even their dark decisions for the eventual good of mankind. Evolution moves forward slowly, but it moves forward irresistibly. I awaken nations, kings, priests, and every soul. All of them shall come to realize that they have been asleep, and learn that sleep has its place only when it strengthens life, not when it deepens corruption. The spiritual sleep into which many have fallen has delayed humanity's path. And so the awakening must be stronger and more urgent in these days. The destiny of the world now approaches its resolution, and many have buried themselves so deeply in selfishness that they cannot be stirred by a gentle touch. Stronger means must be used. People have drifted far from their true goal. No human power could rouse them, so I must intervene, shaking both individuals and nations, until the minstrels are driven out and a sober clarity can return. What is false must give way to what is eternal. Many will resist. The bitter cup must be drunk to its last drop. Humanity must learn again that there is one God, one spiritual realm, and that material things, however adored, cannot last and cannot satisfy the soul. Thousands are hurrying along the wrong path to an early death. Immature, they leave this world and arrive in the beyond even more so. What shall become of them? Here they cannot remain, and there they do not like it either. Oh, you do not know the agony of such souls who are wandering around undecidedly. The temporal world, now lost to them, is no longer accessible to them, and the spiritual does not fit their ideas or their nature. That's what happens when people, even entire nations, utterly disregard their spiritual happiness, cling to the material things, and finally, having lost the material, are unable to make the spiritual their own. Not in vain did I say, if an eye offends you, pluck it out. For it is better that you arrive with one eye in a better world than to expose yourself to the greatest spiritual agony with two eyes. This is why my calls to awaken are necessary and urgent. Accept all happenings as gifts of love, no matter what. I know how to save you all from total ruin. You were once taught of a purgatory, a place of cleansing before heaven. I say, that is utter nonsense. Spiritually, it does exist in each person. Each person's impurities must be swept out of the heart before the spirit can find peace. This sweeping is all kinds of conflicts and sufferings sent to you. I awaken the sleeping good qualities in the human soul so that it pulls itself together to fight the evil with energy and sweep away what harms the soul. When I said, "The maid is not dead, but sleeps," they laughed at me. So to today, many dismiss my attempts to rouse them, though it is for their salvation. Strive to recognize my warnings, my touches, my guidance, so that you may notice when I touch you for your own good. A loving father who cares very much for the welfare of his children can only reform, but never punishes. Be always mindful of that. Amen.